Alrighty, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? It is 3 o'clock or 2:59 p.m. session is basically over. Like I said on my Twitter, I'm going to get this recap recorded and posted after PM session ends. Overall, today was not a bad day for the scalping model. I personally did not take any scalps. Usually on days where a draw is so obvious, I will kind of step back a little bit and see if there's anything that I would like to engage a little bit more, rather than getting like those 12-point kills, all of that. So with that in mind, kind of going into this morning, again, using standard deviations, this is what I saw. Obviously, we had this, or no, that was yesterday. Let me find it. I don't know why that went all the way back, though. So we did have NFP today, obviously, NFP Friday. And then right here, when I saw this in the morning, I actually recorded a video on my phone. I can't post it because I said some stuff in it that honestly should not be posted on public or on the internet. But besides the point, when I saw this NFP wick down here and we closed above, I believe, yeah, this was a 5-minute fair value gap. When we closed above it right here, I was immediately identifying this as our manipulation leg, and I drew out the standard deviations. Ultimately, I did, like in my video, I believe yesterday, I did want to see, where was it? I don't remember exactly. No, what? This is goofing up. I don't even remember. But I wanted to see, I think it was like 14 or 16,488 maybe. That was my... That was in my frame today that I wanted to see. Obviously, we did get a massive move up in AM session. Let's go ahead and measure it real quick. Shift. About 242 points. So, obviously, I'm not a huge fan of trading the 5-minute time frame. Otherwise, I was kind of eyeing an entry at this fair value gap once we closed above there because we had a clean CISD there. But it was a little bit before market opened, and I always have a rule that me personally, I do not take any trades before pre-market, and then from there we kind of just ripped, and I was kind of expecting something to pull back, and kind of from there, that is when I jumped down to the lower time frames. But getting into it, like I said, towards market open, I was entertaining some scalps. I wanted to see if anything was presenting itself. Obviously, we did have 9 a.m. news, and this is something I kind of want to explain. When we do have 9 a.m. news, I give about a 15-minute window. So 8:30 to 8:45. If a setup presents there, I'm fine with it. If it's clean and aligns with stuff, absolutely. But anytime after 8:45, I will wait and sit on my hands until news post, right? And then obviously this was the first setup that we did get. It was pretty clean. I believe this is a 30-second setup also. We displaced above that high right there, came off of a order block. Not that that really matters, but we created our fair value gap, would have been tagged in right there. And then this one did, I think it would have been, I'm on the right. Yeah, it would have been a TP break even because it went 10 points and then came back to break even before going up to like 30 points. Besides the point. So obviously, like I said, 8:45. Once we got this right here, that is where I sit on my hands and wait till news post at 9 a.m. I don't believe there were any really clean setups. Obviously, I don't have anything marked out before then, even though you should not be trading within that 15-minute window before news, especially if it's a red folder. Orange folders, I don't really worry about too much, but when they're red folders, absolutely. So with that in mind, obviously, like I said, waiting until 9 a.m., we just immediately rip up after news posts. But we did get a couple clean setups right as we approached this premium area. We did take a high over here, but since my bias more so was bullish and we got some clean follow through this high, I was okay with seeing this scalp right here. And I believe this was it wasn't a 1 minute down here, this yellow box is, but that's what we created when we wicked down right here. But we had this 15-second fair value gap that we repriced off of, displaced up, broke that high, had our little fair value gap formed right there. And then this one did go 17.25 points, not quite 18, but it still would have hit 2 targets very easily. And then getting into the next setup, this is something I also want to explain. when we are in between two fair value gaps, so I'm going to zoom in. Let me find it on the 1 minute. I'm still on the 5 minute. That's why it looked a little weird. So when we are in between, obviously we have this bearish fair value gap right here. We have two bullish fair value gaps right here, right? When we are in that kind of area, I am waiting until something gets disrespected or something gets respected and we displace off of it. Obviously, we close through this top one, right? But we have this one right below that we top tick. When I saw this, I was like, all right. I mean, even then, right here, if we're trading up, this is before we even came down to this one. And also, if you do zoom out a little bit, I do like to look at the 5 minute if we are in scenarios like this. But with that in mind, when we are in an area where there is two fair value gaps, like a bearish and a bullish, and we are just ranging in between them, I do not entertain anything. I want to make that clear. Like I said, I want the highest probable trades. I do not want to have any second guesses where price is going. I want it to be in alignment with structure. And if it's not, I do not take it. It's as simple as that, really, unless there's enough room. Unless there's enough room. And in this case, obviously there's not. We probably had like a point of room for it to move up. So it doesn't meet the 12-point threshold. But with that in mind, obviously, I do want to explain this because someone on Twitter had a question about this, or they kind of asked for an input. So obviously right here, when I saw this 1 minute fair value gap, it's not pulled over far enough. Hang on. I just realized that. When we have this 1 minute fair value gap right here that gets disrespected as we are pricing off of bullish ones, that's my sign that the market or order flow is bullish. We're going to seek buy side liquidity, right? And in this case right here, we get the scalp setup presented that is within that inverse fair value gap, which should support price once we close through it and take us up to buy side, like I was saying. So this would be pretty illogical to take. It's against order flow. Wouldn't make sense to take. Doesn't align yourself. You're completely trading against where the market is wanting to go. But with that in mind, the next clean setup we had was we broke this high over here on the second candle, had a tiny little fair value gap, but we still repriced off of this one, so it was 100% valid. This one would have been another TP break even. I want to say you would have immediately gone break even on this candle right here. And then it would have came back and stopped you out at break even. But right after, we had a kind of a pyramid setup, right? So second candle break, obviously no equal lows or anything. We had a baby little fair value gap again on the 15 second, and then this one did chop around for a little bit and then did move up 10.75 points. And then we did have a couple of losers. I want to note this, I think, is a really, really good setup. I was surprised when I saw this fail because if we go over to the 1 minute, order flow is obviously still bullish. We are creating higher highs and lower lows, or higher lows. And we closed above this 1 minute fair value gap right here. So in turn, that turns into what? An inverse fair value gap. When I saw that, I was like, all right, this trade kind of is a no-brainer. At this time, I was actually on different time frames because I was wanting to catch a bigger move. But if you're wondering if I think this setup's good, yes, absolutely. We don't have any equal lows. We have some relative equal lows, but my rule states if they're dead equal lows, that's all I care about. And in my eyes, this is a good setup. It just, of course, trading, you got to understand probabilities. You're not going to have a 100% win rate. It's part of the game. But I did like this because we did also have some relative equal highs up there. And then this was actually the setup that I took, the only one I took in morning session. So I'll kind of explain it. Even though it's not my scalping model, I just kind of want to show, in a sense, how I view price and what I do. I will also go over the PM trade that I took, the turtle soup trade, explain my thought process behind it. Because I honestly think, even though it's not exactly my scalping model, it will help you all kind of get more of an understanding in what I look for like confirmations and stuff, because it all ties in. It's all part of the same thing. So this one, obviously, on the 1 minute over here, we had this sell side level that we took. We could identify this as inducement. We came down to this 1 minute order block, barely, or basically top ticked it, dug like one tick down into it. And I initially took a starter position right after this candle closed right there. I wanted to see this high get met, and obviously you can see we did not meet it right up there. And we started to come back. Actually, no, I added a position, I believe, right here. This one did come up a little bit. Stops were at break even at the time, so I was like +2 ticks right here. As you can see, this one did come down, took out that little sell side level, and then did rip up. And this gray box right here is a -2, -2.5 standard deviation. That's something I like to target a lot when I am using standard deviations. But yeah, that was the trade that I had taken this morning. Like I said, I did not take any scalp setups today. There's kind of two reasons for that. Like I was saying, there was a bigger picture move that I wanted to capture. Obviously, this is still on the 15-second, but I was able to capture about 23.25 points on a clean move that I had a lot of conviction on. But like I was saying, I'm trying to remember exactly. I honestly kind of just lost my trending thought, but I don't remember. We'll just go ahead and get into the next setup. Oh, no. It was the two reasons. The second reason is my data points. I think I've explained this before. Fridays are usually the lowest probable days for this model. Sometimes there'll be outlier days. I think like 2 weeks ago, there was one time where it went like 8-1 on a Friday, but I'm telling you right now, that's an outlier. Usually Fridays are a smidge above break even. I want to say a smidge above break even, but about 1 to 1.5 are, because there's going to be quite a few TP break evens as you saw today. But we did have another trade right here. Obviously, we were coming off of this 2 and 2.5 standard deviation. We started displacing down lower. However, we did fail to close anything below that low that put in that high. But honestly, I would still deem this as a valid trade because we did reprice off of this fair value gap right here, and then displace down pretty strongly. We could honestly kind of identify this as an inducement, but still want to cover it because if I was on the 15-second chart, but if I was trading my scalping model today, I more so would have taken this, to be completely honest. So this one did. Obviously, we had our fair value gap created. Second candle broke right there, repriced off that fair value gap, and then had or would have drawn our gone box, set a limit at the bottom yield line because it's a short. And this one did just chop around for a lot. It did almost come down to our 6 points, but not quite. So this would have been a loser. And I do believe there was some people that took this trade, actually. I think Steve took it, but he got a pretty beautiful move. It just dumped down. But getting into the next couple, I think these are the last two setups for the AM session for the scalping model. Obviously, we just absolutely melted right here. Started to kind of chill out a little bit. We repriced off this fair value gap. Displaced on the second candle below this low. We would have been tagged in. Actually, no, this one. I think that may have been a 30-second right there. I don't remember. But I'll bump up to 30-second and look at it here in a moment. But this next one's a 15-second one. Obviously, we would have been tagged in right at the second candle. We displaced below this low right here on the second candle. Clean move, no 1 minute fair value gaps over here, so nothing to really worry about. Obviously, price is displacing down, so I want to be seeking scalp shorts. And this one did go 13.75 points, so two targets would have been hit, which is good. And then obviously we have our 10:30 window where we close up for AM session. I'm going to bump up to the 30-second real quick and see if that was one. Nah, I honestly don't know why I had that marked, because we have an open fair value gap up here. Maybe I was seeing something else, or it's a different time frame one. But besides the point, like I said, AM session wasn't too bad as I expected. Just as I was saying, my data points, usually Fridays aren't the highest probable. That's why 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be looking for a different kind of move on a Friday, especially when it's really going to be a clear TGIF setup. So with that in mind, I do want to go over the PM sesh trade that I had taken and kind of explain it. Let me delete some of these. So initially, I think it was on the 5 minute. I marked this out. Yeah, so 5 minute, obviously right here. We take this buy side level. That's our manipulation leg. We get a CISD right here. I was not on the charts at this time. I was still on the way back or eating or something. But once we had came down, I'll explain it in a second. But going back to this, we had our CISD right here. Took out buy side, so that's our manipulation leg. That's when I'm going to draw my fib levels on, obviously. And then something to note is when we close through the -2, -2.5 standard deviation, I'm looking at that to support price to send it down lower. So obviously going down to, I was on the 15 second at this time. This is pretty obvious to me. We had this little buy side level up here. We came up, traded above it. I took a short position right there, and I had a target at these equal lows. It was a pretty nice trade, not gonna lie. I got filled like right there. I had my stop initially right here. So it was about 3.6 R, but once we closed through this, I think it was a 30-second fair value gap, I immediately went break even. So risking very, very little on that, but I believe that is the recap for today. Like I said, I want to explain the setups that I'm taking that aren't exactly my scalping model for two reasons. Obviously, it's going to help y'all kind of understand the way I view price, and also will just give you a deeper understanding of what I look for specifically and stuff I may throw in to give me the highest probable scalp setups. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know per usual. Shoot me a tweet on Twitter or something. If there's anything that I missed, I don't think I did, just shoot me a screenshot or something, and I'll try and respond to it as fast as possible, and we will go from there. But yeah, overall, not a bad day, as expected. That's something I want y'all to remember is Fridays, you can kind of either de-risk a little bit or honestly just not trade Fridays at all. That should help you not give back any clean profits. Given, honestly though, I'm still very, very happy with how this model performed this week, given it's the first week of the year. It's an NFP week as well. I honestly did not have very, very high hopes coming into this week, but I was proven wrong as it performed pretty nicely. So like I was saying a minute ago, I'm going to call the video here. If you have any questions, just let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.